line of people that ran down from a steep mountain trail. To his left, there was a hazy landscape where furtive figures moved back and forth deep inside the gloomy fog. To the right was a vast plain of rolling hills and valleys under a bright sky with clouds that made him think of God. Though there were people before and behind Tempest, many thousands of them, for some reason he couldn't focus on anyone's face. Miles up ahead, a large man sat at a granite table, hunched over a large book that Tempest knew instinctively was a volume in the great compilation of the sins of man. It seemed odd to Tempest that he could see the old man and his book so clearly when they were many miles away, but he still could not make out the face of the man or woman behind him. St. Peter looked up at a sad soul before him and read a long list of complaints that we accounting angels had compiled during the man's life. There were thefts and lies, an abused child, and some sort of insurance fraud that Tempest didn't quite understand. The man, whoever he was, had stolen a jar of cash out of his dead mother's home before his brother arrived from St. Louis for the funeral. The list was long, but the judge read it patiently, without anger or acrimony. The man, for his part, nodded every time a complaint was read, saying, I know, the saddest defeat in his voice. Finally, Peter looked up with blue-gray eyes that had deep furrows at the corners. He seemed so sorrowful that Tempest felt near tears. Peter uttered a word, and with only a gasp, the sinner turned to his left and wandered off into the foggy limbo that Tempest now understood must be the outer edge of hell. It was then that Tempest realized that each one of the ever-growing line of dead souls had witnessed this judgment. This was death, and every man, woman, and child who died were onlookers to eternity. Tempest had never been a patient man. His mother said that instead of crying, he thanked the doctor for his liberation. He was crawling by 2 months, Mrs. Landry used to say. He was running before he could walk. It was true that Tempest never sat still. Maybe if they taught history on the basketball court, he told his teacher, I might get something. But you know, it's hell sitting in this chair. Tempest was impatient, fretful, and always on the verge of getting angry, but not on that final line. He approached his maker's judge with the same deep interest he had for Oprah and Dr. Phil. Several times he tried to engage his neighbors in conversation about the nature of some sins, like the woman who had murdered her sister for using her own perfume while committing adultery with her husband. That there's a hard one, Tempest said to the soul in front of him. I guess the woman borrowed the perfume to save her sister the pain of smelling another woman's sin on her man. Do you think they both got sent to the left? The soul ahead did not answer. Tempest wondered if he even heard him. Maybe everybody was chattering away, Tempest thought, but the rule of heaven had made them mute. After many thousands of judgments, after millions of sins, from blasphemy to murder, Tempest found himself standing before St. Peter. Tempest Landry, the judge spoke. Here, Tempest said. The old man might have smiled before turning the page of his great book. You stabbed Quentin Sams on July 16th when you were only 15. Excuse me, Your Honor, but that there was in self-defense. Q-Boy was reaching for the pistol in his pocket when he saw me kissing on a girl who had broke it off with him that morning. Peter looked up from his book with pique in his visage. No one had seen such a look since the Mahatma had refused the refuge of heaven. Running a finger down the page, Peter again began reading. At 18, you stole $314 from your mother's own church. Actually, Tempest said, holding up his hands as if to apologize for his impudence. I know it looks like I stole from the church, but really I only took from Reverend Langley. I mean, I had seen him down at Bertha Burnett's cat house throwing away the congregation's money on the women and liquor. And I used that money to pay for my auntie's groceries while she was out of work and recovering from pneumonia. The way I saw it, I was taking the church's money away from the devil and putting it to work for God the way it was meant to be used. Peter's stare this time lasted more than the 3 months needed to separate sin from saintliness in the arrogant Joan of Arc.